I am making an Ancient Gear deck profile for post Maze of the Master, as Ancient Gear actually got a very good card released in Maze of the Master as an ultra rare, which is actually higher than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a super rare at most. I figured it was likely it was going to be a rare. But this is my current build for Ancient Gear. I want to add a couple cards, like at least one copy of Power Bond and then 3 Hunting Hounds to the deck, just so I can fusion summon a bit more easily. But for now, this is just what I have, as this is the prototype build. Starting off with the monsters, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Statue. Ancient Gear Statue is a free body while your opponent has more monsters than you. You can only special summon it once per turn that way, and then once per turn you contribute it to then special summon an Ancient Gear Golem or a monster that mentions Ancient Gear Golem from your deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. And I really wish this card had its anime effect, where you could use the effect as many times as you wanted. However, that is a hard once per turn effect with the real card. If it weren't for that, then I would be playing Machine Duplication in this deck, as you summon Statue, Machine Duplication, summon 2 more, and you tribute all 3 for a trio of golems. Then I play 1 copy of Ancient Gear Box. Box just has the effect that when it's added from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except by drawing it, then you can add an Earth Machine monster from your deck to your hand that has 500 attack or defense outside of Ancient Gear Box. And you only use that effect in Ancient Gear Box once per turn. Then I play 1 copy of Ancient Gear Commander. Ancient Gear Commander has the effect that you can send an Ancient Gear Golem from your hand, deck, or face-up monster zone to the graveyard. To immediately after that effect resolves, normal summon an Ancient Gear monster. And then if you normal or special summon an Ancient Gear Golem, except during the damage step, you can special summon an Ancient Gear Golem from your hand or graveyard, ignoring its summoning conditions. Then you can banish this card from your graveyard to then place 1 Ancient Gear Continuous Trap from your hand face up to your field. I don't know why I keep thinking you place it face up from the deck. You can only use that effect of Ancient Gear Commander once per turn. Or you can only use each effect of Ancient Gear Commander once per turn. Then next, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Tanker. Ancient Gear Tanker has the effect that if it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand except for another Tanker, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then, or if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon from your graveyard instead. And then you can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, destroy it. Also for the rest of this turn, monsters you control, or all monsters you control that are Ancient Gear Golem or mention it, gain 600 attack. You'll use that effect to Tinker once per turn. Next, I play 1 copy of Ancient Gear Frame. Ancient Gear Frame has the effect that you can discard it to add Ancient Gear Golem or a spell trap that specifically mentions Ancient Gear Golem from your deck to your hand. And that's pretty much all it really does, because the rest of its deck cards will be on field, and your opponent destroying a card with knowing that this card will let you summon multiple Ancient Gear Golems. Next, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Wyvern. Ancient Gear Wyvern has the effect that when it's normal or special summoned, you can add an Ancient Gear card from your deck to your hand, except for another Wyvern. However, for the rest of the turn after you use that effect, you cannot set spells or traps. And then also the standard Ancient Gear effect of when it attacks, your opponent can't activate spells or traps until the end of the damage step. And then next, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Dragon. I'm currently thinking about putting this down at 1, but for now I'm just trying 3. But Ancient Gear Dragon has the effect where it cannot be special summoned, and if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are Earth Machine monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. And then when your opponent activates a spell or trap card or effect, meaning this effect of a spell or trap, then you can send to the graveyard 1 machine monster from your hand or face-up field or an Ancient Gear Golem from your deck to negate the effect. And you can only use each effect of Ancient Gear Dragon once per turn. This is mainly just in here so you can summon it off a Tanker, and then you can just have it send a Golem to deck or an Ancient Gear from your hand to grave to negate a spell card. A spell or trap, technically. It's just in here as another go first option. Next, I play 2 copies Ancient Gear Dark Golem. Ancient Gear Dark Golem has the effect that its name becomes Ancient Gear Golem while it's on the field or in the graveyard. And then if it's normal or special summoned, you can add up to 2 cards. Or you can add up to 2 cards that are Ancient Gear cards and or Gear Town from your deck to your hand, and then you discard 1 card. As I believe that's what it does. And then also, you cannot set cards for the rest of the turn. And then you can only use that effect of Ancient Gear Dark Golem once per turn. And if it attacks, your opponent can't activate spells, traps, and ends the damage step. Then I play 2 copies of Ancient Gear Golem. Ancient Gear Golem cannot be special summoned. Your opponent can't activate spells or traps till the end of the damage step when it battles, or when it attacks, I mean. And then it does piercing damage when it attacks a monster in defense. And then that's it for the Ancient Gear monsters. For the supporting monsters, I play 1 copy of Gizmek Tanagoku, the Immobile or Immortal? Immobile Intellect. Anyway, the Frog Gizmek has the effect of when it's normal or special summoned. You can take a machine monster's attack equals its own defense. Cough, cough. Ancient Gear Dark Golem. Cough, cough. And then special summon in defense position, you can only use each effect of the Frog Gizmek once per turn. If I remember correctly, you summon this off of. I think it doesn't negate the effect. But I forget how it works. It's been a while since I last played the deck, so I remember there is a reason because you summon this, and you get Dark Golem, and it's a way of getting to just combo star without actually committing your normal summon. I believe that's how it works. I have to watch the video again to make sure. And then lastly, 1 copy of Therian King Regulus. Regulus has the effect where you can only use each of its following effects once per turn. You can target a Therian monster or a machine monster in your graveyard, special summon this card from your hand if you do equip that monster to this card. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, as a quick effect, you can send a Therian monster card from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, negate that effect. And then a Therian monster equipped, well, that last part doesn't matter because you're only playing with 1 Regulus. So it's just in here as another go first option, as it is a monster negate. And then moving on to the spells, I play 2 copies of Ancient Gear Fusion. Ancient Gear Fusion just lets you fusion summon an Ancient Gear Fusion monster by using monsters from your hand or field's material. Or if you're using Ancient Gear Golem you control, you can also use monsters in your deck. Which unfortunately means that Ancient Gear Fusion can be ashed. Next, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Fortress. Ancient Gear Fortress, I feel like, is the only thing that's keeping Ancient Gear playable at this point, as it has the effect that during the turn that they are normal or special summoned, your Ancient Gear monsters cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. And then, I have to remember the L's. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of your Ancient Gear cards and effects. And if this card is destroyed in the spell and trap zone, then you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your hand or graveyard. However, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for Ancient Gear monsters. And then next, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Advance. Ancient Gear Advance has the effect that when it's activated, you can add an Ancient Gear spell or trap from your deck to your hand, except for another advance. Then once per turn, you contribute a monster to draw 1 card, and then you apply the following effect for the rest of the turn, even after it leaves the field. You can normal summon Ancient Gear Golem or level 5 or higher monster that mentions it without tributing. And then you cannot set cards to turn you activate this card. You can only activate 1 Ancient Gear Advance per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Catapult. Ancient Gear Catapult has the effect that while you control no monsters, you can target a face-up spell. You target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. And then, if this card's in your graveyard, then does it have that random except the turn was sent there? Okay, yeah. And then, if this card's in your graveyard, you can banish it, target a face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon an Ancient Gear token. You can only activate 1 of those 2 effects of Ancient Gear Catapult per turn. And then next, I play 3 copies of Gear Town. Gear Town has the effect that you can normal summon Ancient Gear monsters with 1 less tribute. However, the main effect you want of this is that when it's destroyed, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck. let's see. You special summon ancient gear monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And then next, I play 3 copies of Urgent Schedule. Urgent Schedule has the effect that if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon a level 4 or lower and a level 5 or higher Earth Machine monster from your deck and defense mission, but negate their effects. You can't attack the turn except for the machine monsters, and then if this set card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a level 10 machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Urgent Schedule once per turn. Usually I like seeing this card if I'm going second, as I can activate this, get 2 monsters on the field I don't really care about, link them off for Ballista. Ballista will then grab Gear Town, and then I can just combo off from there without having to commit a normal summon. Moving on to the traps, I play 1 copy of Ancient Gear Duel. Ancient Gear Duel has the effect that Ancient Gear Golem and monsters that mention it in your monster zone are unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. And then if your opponent controls a monster, then you can fusion summon an Ancient Gear fusion monster by using Ancient Gear Golem you control, I believe. I have to remember. It's been a while since I last read this card. Let's see. If your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon 1 fusion monster that mentions Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck by banishing monsters from your field or graveyard as material, including Ancient Gear Golem you control. And if you do, it can make up to 3 attacks during each battle phase. You can only use this effect of Ancient Gear Duel once per turn. And then the last card I play is 1 copy of Ancient Gear Reborn. I've seen some people experimenting with this card, so I figured I might as well try playing it as well. Ancient Gear Reborn has the effect that once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can target an Ancient Gear monster in your graveyard, special summon it. And if you do, it gains 200 attack, and you can only control 1 Ancient Gear Reborn. Honestly, I'm probably just going to cut Ancient Gear Reborn from the deck entirely, just because the card you want to be placed face up in your Spawn Trap zone is the Ancient Gear Duel off of Ancient Gear Commander. But that is it for the main deck. Like I said, this is currently the prototype build, so it could very easily change in the future. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Ballista. Ancient Gear Ballista has the effect that when this card is link summoned, you can add an Ancient Gear monster or Gear Town from your deck to your hand. Then once per turn, you target a spell or trap you control, and when face that monster your opponent controls, destroy your card so you can reduce the opponent's monster's attack to 0 until the end of the turn. And you can only activate that effect of Ancient Gear Ballista once per turn. Then next, I play 1 copy of Platinum Gadget. Platinum Gadget has the effect that cannot be used as link material the turn it's link summoned. And then during your main phase, you can special summon level 4 or lower machine monster from your hand to your zone this card points to. And then if this card is destroyed by a battle or card effect, then you can special summon a level 4 gadget monster from your deck. However, Ancient Gear Gadget is not in this deck, so that its destruction effect doesn't really do anything. And then next, I play 1 copy of Spriggan's Merrymaker. Spriggan's Merrymaker has the effect that you can that if this card is special summoned from your extra deck, you can send a Spriggan's monster from your deck to the graveyard. And during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, quick effect, you banish this card from your graveyard until the end phase. Or you banish this card until the end phase. And then if you banish this card with 2 or more materials, then you can also send a fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard that lists Fallen of Albaz. You'll use that effect once per turn. However, Merrymaker is mainly in here just for... Let's see... the 1 copy of Gigantic Champion Sargus, because you can also make Sargus by using 1 Spriggan's Xyz monster you control. You would transfer its materials. And then, while this card's material, you can add a Spriggan's or Therian monster from your deck to your hand. And then, if material is attached to a monster on the field, except during the damage step, you can target 1 card on the field, either destroy it or return it to the hand. So, Sargus is actually a kind of a funny answer for Ryziel as well, but kind of not really. But basically, you make Merrymaker, then make Sargus. Sargus will add the Regulus, and then you can summon Regulus by equipping it with any Ancient Gear monster from the graveyard. And then next, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Howitzer. Howitzer has the effect that's unaffected by other card effects. Once per turn, you can activate its effect. It can't attack, but it can inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent. And then if Howitzer is destroyed by an opponent's card, by battle or card effect, you can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. Then I play 1 copy of Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. Megaton Golem can attack a number of times, or attack monsters a number of times equal to the number of golems you use to make it, which thanks to Ancient Gear Duel, if you make this, it just gets 3 by default. But then it also has the effect that if it is destroyed by an opponent's card, then you can special summon 1 Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck. And I believe it also has your opponent can activate spells or traps till the end of the damage step. And then, let's see, attacks, can't do that. If you're summoning using 2 or more Golem. Okay, if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon an Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. Remember, it was something. I knew I had something wrong. So it does not trigger when it's destroyed in battle. Speaking of, I play 2 copies of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem has the effect that when your opponent, it can't be special summoned. When it attacks, your opponent can activate spells or traps till the end of the damage step. Inflicts piercing damage. And then if this card is destroyed, you can target an Ancient Gear Golem that's in your graveyard, special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then lastly, just because it's my favorite of the Ancient Gear monsters, I play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Chaos Giant. Ancient Gear Chaos Giant, or Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, but I prefer Ancient Gear Chaos Giant. I don't know why, but oh well. Chaos Giant has the effect that it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. It's unaffected by spells and traps, and during the battle phase, your opponent can activate monster effects, and it also does piercing. One of my favorite things to do with this card in the past was summon it using Power Bond, because then it's a 9,000 attacks everything, unaffected by spells and traps. The only reason Power Bond affects it is because it is still affected by spells and traps that affect the summon, and not the monster itself. But that's the end of my Ancient Gear deck profile. If you have any ideas of the decks like to see me made in the future, decks like to see face each other, or any improvements that can be made to Ancient Gear, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments. Thank you for watching.